Our first guest is a New York Times bestselling author whose latest work introduces readers to an iconic actress known for portraying strong Black women. Here to share more about the soon-to-be-released Cicely Tyson, we welcome award-winning author Renée Watson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How gorgeous is this book?
I love
It's beautiful.
the book. I love Sherry Shine's illustration. She's amazing, and I'm so honored to have worked with her.
Let's start there because she's a quilt artist,
Yes.
right? How did you guys connect?
So our publisher connected us. It's kind of like matchmaking when you think about writing. I wrote the whole book not knowing who the illustrator would be. And then when it was time for that stage, I got to look through portfolios and have some say, and we all agreed that she was the top choice.
That's really cool. And this is her first children's book,
This is her
right?
first children's book, but she is an amazing artist and is using quilting to make these illustrations. And so it's really unique and different.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was really excited. I would get sketches throughout the process, and I would be like, oh, I think this is my favorite. And then I'd get another one. I'm like, oh, I think this is my favorite.
Just kept, what a wonderful story for her to dive into the children's world. Tell me about how this project began for you. I can understand why you'd want to profile Cicely Tyson.
So I'm so honored I was asked to write this story. HarperCollins approached me. The family wanted to take Cicely's adult book, her own biography, or autobiography, and turn it into a picture book.
Wow.
And they asked me if I would be open to doing it. And I was like, absolutely. That was something I didn't have to think too hard about. And I read her book, I listened to the audiobook, I just studied and studied and wrote the book based on what she wrote about her own life.
That's really cool because I love how you kind of weave in the historical context of the time and place of as things are happening, and then you as the reader, I'm thinking as a parent reading it along with my kids, I can kind of take them along the journey and say, hey, this is what was happening at this time, and this is what she and her family were experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, she lived 9 decades, so she saw so much of this world. And overcame so much and saw the beauty and the struggle of it all. And so I wanted to make sure that that thread was throughout the book.
Well, and I think even as someone who appreciates so much of her work, probably most as an actress, when you kind of go back through the decades to the beginning of her life and see all that she overcame and trailblazed through, it's a great celebration of her life.
It is. It's a great celebration of her strength, her integrity, to make sure that she would choose roles that would make her proud and make her people proud. She was wearing natural hair at a time when that was not a thing for Black women. So yeah, she really used her voice, her acting voice, to stand up for what she believed in and to really represent for Black women. And I love when I can find an actor or a singer that is also an activist and help young people realize that you can be an activist through your art making. And I think that that's really powerful for young people who might not feel like they have a lot of power, but you do if you're an artist. And so Cicely is an example of that.
Well, and just seeing all the things that she did in her lifetime, she was interested in music, she modeled, the fashions. I mean, there's just so much to uncover.
Yes, so the thing about Cicely is that she wasn't someone you could put in a box. And I wanted young people to really get to know her in that way too, that you can be good at many things. You don't have to just be one thing. And you can use your light. She always talked about having this light, this bright light in her, one of her favorite hymns. And I wanted young people to think about, well, what am I good at? And what do I just naturally like to do? And then maybe those are the things that can be your career. You don't have to pursue something that feels outside of yourself. If you love fashion, maybe you could do something in the fashion world, and that is a talent and a gift that you can show off. And you can be an actor or a singer and a good mom and a good friend. You know, she was good at a lot of things.
That's such a great message for this day and time, that the possibilities are endless and you can still do good in this world by following your passions too. Take me back to an early story. There's a moment where they encounter another woman on the street and she kind of points out this infant child's greatness that she can already see.
So Cicely's mother would retell this story over and over, that when Cicely was a baby, like a baby in a carriage, she was on a walk, and this is in New York City, in the Bronx, and an older woman, a Jewish woman, came up to her and said, oh, excuse me, can I just see the baby? And, played with the baby, and then said to the mother, this child is gonna do great things, take good care of her. And so she held on to that, like, wait, I have a special child, what is my daughter gonna do in the world? And so Cicely, can you imagine being told that as a child, that you're destined to do something great.
Right.
And so that's in the back of her mind her whole life, that she's put on this earth to do something and to leave it better than she found it.
And we all think our babies are perfect and special and amazing, but that's a pretty good testament to somebody who was destined for greatness.
Yes.
Tell me about how you tackle all these different projects that you do, because you write novels for more adult readers, you write middle grade books. How do you kind of adjust your approach and think about what's your next project? Because you're so busy.
So I really see myself as a storyteller. And sometimes the stories come to me for a picture book or poetry or the adult novel you mentioned, Skin and Bones. And I just let the story be what it needs to be. As far as like the practical thing of it, I really am good at focusing on what the character wants to say, how they want to say it, and give myself space. I can write something new and revise something if it's in copy edit. I cannot create two things at one time. That's too hard for me. But as long as I have many pots on the stove, but they're all at different stages of cooking. So some are simmering and I'm brainstorming and thinking. They're kind of on the back burner, and the things on the front are what I'm like really digging into and, you know, on deadline for. Okay,
it's like a big Thanksgiving feast all coming together at different times.
Something is always cooking in my writing kitchen.
Tell me about what you're doing in Portland this weekend.
I'm so excited to be here for the Portland Book Festival. This is one of my favorite events to do every year.
So cool.
I've been doing it since my first book was published in 2010. I have come every year. And yeah, I'll be there this weekend. I'll be reading from Black Girl Your Atlas, the poetry collection, and I'll be in conversation with Mitchell Jackson about Skin and Bones.
Oh my gosh, so what's it like for you touring books like Skin and Bones versus a children's book? What's the experience like for you to interact with the readers of all different ages?
So I've been saying about Skin and Bones, I have been wanting to talk to the mamas and aunties and teachers and mentors who are raising the young people that I write for. So it's been great to be in conversation with adults and kind of have similar conversations about the same themes I've been writing about for young people, but now talking to adults and asking us to be our best selves for this generation that we're raising and loving and nurturing. So it's been great.
We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you
really
for
good to be
home. Yes, back in Portland, just for a bit, but we're always happy when you're visiting us. Okay, the book again is Cicely Tyson. It'll be available November 5th. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.